All right. So I've had a lot of questions about how to get started as an appointment setter. How did I get started? What was the process? So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to get an setting job in the next 2 weeks, like 14 days. If you follow exactly what I'm about to go over with you. So a little bit of a context on this. I in my work with clients and for my company and for what I do for clients, like I see a lot of applications. Like in my career, I probably have sourced and received like 5 to 10,000 resumes of all the jobs that a sales appointment job that I've hired for. And to be honest with you, most people who say they want an appointment setting job just don't want it enough or just don't have the right information. And the reason why I say that is because the bar is so low when it comes to like standing out as an appointment setter or a sales rep, like an entry level sales rep. The bar to stand out compared to everyone else who's applying for the job is so low. And yet, most sales reps, most appointment setter candidates, right, are either just lazy or just don't want to do the work, the extra work that it takes to really just really stand out and really get a job, right? And so I want to create and record this video to kind of, one, dispel the myth, and two, show you exactly what I would do if I wanted to get into appointment setting or sales development for the next 2 weeks. Like in my mind, there's no doubt that if I wanted to get a job in appointment setting, I would do this and I would get a job. But also, anybody can do this. It's not the beautiful thing about sales development and appointment setting is it generally does not require you to have a lot of experience. It requires two things. Number one is three, but really two. Number one is a little bit of a grit, like elbow grease. You are going to have to do a few things that require some effort. And two, it requires a little bit of critical thinking. Okay? And like, that's not like rocket science that you have to go to school to learn. It's also not like high ticket closing where you have to understand the sales process even further and you have to have some experience. So in my mind, if I wanted to break into online sales and work remotely and start making anywhere between 3, 5, 7, maybe even 8K per month as an appointment setter, like, it's not that hard. And I can do that in 2 weeks. Okay. So I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I were to try to get a job. Now, a couple of caveats. Okay. This is assuming that you're applying for, I'm going to talk from my experience, right? So my experience has always been hiring US or Canadian based appointment setters, sales development rep for companies that are legitimate, right? So we're not talking about fly by night, coaching business with 5 to 10K per month in revenue and they're trying to get free labor, right? By the way, if you're if you're trying to break into an appointment center and that's the company that you're working with, like, run. It will not work out. It will not have the right infrastructure and the support for you to be successful. So in your search, look for more established companies. And it doesn't have to be big, right? Like, I have clients that are doing 50K per month in the coaching business that are hiring appointment setters, all the way to 1.7 million revenue, 2.2, like 4 or 5 million, all the way up to $1 billion companies with legitimate global teams that are hiring sales development left and right. Okay, and the problem, I think, for you, if you're starting out and you don't know anything about appointment setting or sales development, I'm going to use those two terms interchangeably, is one, you don't know what you don't know, right? And two, you don't have the skill set to, or just the how to, or know how to get a job. Okay, so in this video, I want to kind of break down the steps. Really simple. It's not hard at all. It does require some elbow grease, but guarantee almost, if you do this for the next 2 weeks, you will at least get interviews at a much higher rate. and two, maybe you actually even get an offer. Okay, so the first, I would say, there's three stages to getting a job as an appointment setter. Number one is sourcing, meaning which companies you're going to apply for. Number two is going to be your application strategy, how you interview, how you apply. And number three, which is the most important part, and yet 99% of appointment setters and sales reps, account executives included, high ticket closer, you name it, people in sales in general, totally suck at. And it's literally the difference between getting like 10 interviews and 10 offers versus getting nothing, which is the third step, is the follow-up. Okay. And like, if you are breaking into sales and this is your first sales role and you don't, like, the biggest takeaway that you can remember in all of sales training, okay, of all time, the most important part in sales is the follow-up. Okay. Literally, like, you can, and I think Cole Gordon talks about this too. Like, you can suck as a pitcher, like, meaning pitch the product or the program. You can suck at discovery, but if you are persistent in the follow up, you generally will actually close more deals than somebody who is the perfect closer but doesn't do any follow ups. Right? At some point, I think Cole Gordon was talking about his sales career, and half of his sales came from the follow-ups. Okay, so that's the biggest takeaway. Number one, as an appointment setter, entry level, right? The biggest advantage you can have is one, the follow-up, and two, critical thinking. And I will show you exactly what I mean by critical thinking. Okay, so let's start with step one, which is sourcing. Where are you going to get these jobs, right? I generally recommend 3 places with an additional bonus, which is kind of a little bit of a secret sauce, if you will, as kind of the 4th place. Okay, so most people should. There's a lot of different places where you can get jobs. Okay, but if you're looking for more established companies that are hiring legitimate reps and have systems, processes, they're bigger, they have onboarding, have training, like, just better support, and they're not a scrappy, potentially a fly-by-night coaching company that could fail tomorrow, right? The first place I will look at is LinkedIn. Okay, so you can go to jobs on LinkedIn, and you can literally search for, like, either remote or based in a location, right? And you can literally type in here sales development job, and there's like 120 results in just what does it say? Let's say in the United States here, right? Right here is all the companies that are hiring remote, okay, in the US for a sales development rep, okay, and you can even look at like the size of companies, right, and the industry, okay. Look at this, 73 applications, right? A lot of people are going to be applying for remote-only sales reps, okay? And you have to do more to stand out than just clicking this apply button and do the minimum required, okay? And we'll talk about what that looks like. So step one, if you're looking for a more established company, right? Now, there's trade-offs to both, right? If you want to be with a startup, it's going to be more scrappier, right? It might not be there a year from now, but you will learn a lot faster. Look at this range here. That's pretty good for a new sales rep. By the way, business development usually means this is outbound, cold outbound, and then sales development typically means they have leads, inbound leads that are warm, and you're making kind of outreach to people who are already familiar with the brand. Again, it's pros and cons. Sales development is easier to break into because you're not trying to cold prospect people completely cold, but business development role tend to pay more. So the track that I recommended you would do is start with a sales development role first. It's easier to get into. It's easier to stand out. It's easier to do. You probably make less money, and then move into business development as you kind of gain your skill set and refine your chops a little bit, okay? So so this is how you would find it for a more established role companies. If you're like, I don't want to be stuck with like structure and like have to like maybe even go to an office once a week and actually like work for a real company. Then there's thousands of Facebook groups. Like I'm a part of this group here, and like everybody's looking for appointment setter. Okay, and so this is more like probably more coaching based online businesses that are smaller in size, scrappier, right? They are not going to be very established. The plus side to this is they're probably going to have a much less rigorous application process. There's probably not going to be any background check, and you can get started and you can get meet interviews and probably offers very easily. The downside of this is a lot of these companies might pay 100% commission only, right? There's no base. There's not really any benefits as compared to like a software company, right? Venture backed, or they have revenue. There's usually a lot better in terms of commission, or not commission, in terms of benefits and like support and training as well, right? So I'm not calling out any companies here, but a lot of online coaching businesses that are doing less than 100K per month, right? Typically have way less support and resources and training and onboarding material for you as an appointment setter. But the plus side is, hey, you can actually be on the ground, right? The building ground of a business that are trying to take off. So there's pros and cons. Take your pick. If I was to start again, I would definitely do this. Right? If I'm like starting from zero, don't have any money, and try to get my first job and make decent money and have a support system, I would probably go with the sales development role here. Now, I would also not overlook the Facebook groups, right? So I might get a part-time appointment setting job with a random company from the internet, right? That I don't really know, or they're not really a quote-unquote real company, to get some experience. And then at the same time, I would apply at these companies as well. And I'm going to be willing to like put in a 9 to 5, right? I know that get demonized quite a bit on the online space, which is ridiculous. You learn so much, right, from working at a job. And by the way, any entrepreneurs online that kind of like, demonize or talk shit about being an employee in a 9 to 5, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you they have an agenda, right? What are they saying? Hey, don't be an employee. Buy my course or sign up for my program. I'll teach you how to be an entrepreneur. Guess what? Entrepreneurs cannot grow their empire without good people. There's not one company in the world who that's run by an entrepreneur that don't have good people in it. So this whole thing about like 9 to 5 employees is a BS route. It's just a marketing ploy. It's kind of like the same thing as like, Russell Brunson made his name for himself for saying you're one funnel away from freedom. I can tell you, I work with a lot of businesses. It's not one funnel. The reality is you're never one funnel away from freedom. Okay, so that I'm rambling here, but I'm saying, hey, I would probably get a part-time, maybe even full-time, quote-unquote full-time setting role on a Facebook group like this first. And then if I really want to be with an established company, then I would also apply for this. Now, if I only ever want it to be like, hey, I'm going to become a closer, or for a high-ticket program online, I want to work with coaching companies, like I might not apply for a sales development role at a quote-unquote real software company, okay? But it's a great start here. So these are the two places I would start. I would also look at Indeed. Indeed tend to be even harder to stand out, because if I put a job post here, I would get thousands of resumes, and it's harder to stand out. But that's okay, because I'm going to show you exactly how to stand out, which is what 99% of reps are not doing. So if you just do a little bit above what everyone does, you're going to stand out already. So let's say you have found, let's say like between 10 to 20 jobs on these two places. Okay, so start with Facebook group and then LinkedIn. Let's say you found 10 companies. Okay, let's start with between 10 and 20 companies. I would start with 20 and then narrow it down to the 10 that I absolutely want to work with. So this would be my day one, just looking at who's hiring, who's the top 10 companies I want to work for. And in terms of like top 10 companies, like how do you even come up with that? Like know what's a good company to work for? I would look at my interest, my experience, and then the industry that these companies are in. So if you're interested in software, obviously apply for software companies. If you're interested in marketing agencies, right, look at what marketing agency you're hiring. So think about what you want to do. At this point, you probably like don't know a whole lot about what you truly want to do down the road. So look at your interest. If you're like watch a lot of YouTube videos and content, maybe look into education-based companies, right? Like companies that have courses, coaching programs, and things like that. Okay, and the other thing I would add to this process is I would look at companies with decent, like at least $1 million or more in revenue to start. The reason for that, it doesn't mean that you cannot apply and it cannot be successful with a smaller company, but at $1 million per year, there's a bit of structure to the company, and they're not going through this like cycle of up and down as much. And they should have cash flow, and they can invest in your growth, and they can kind of support you for the longer term, as opposed to some most companies that are less than $1 million. If they're doing like 20, 30, 40, 50K per month, even in like 60, 70K per month, it's usually like the founder plus like 3 other people. So it's hard for the founder to even support you. If you're an appointment setter, right? So your risk of not working out is just higher. So look for companies with at least $1 million or higher in terms of revenue, okay? And narrow it down to 10 companies. And then you're gonna go and apply through the usual process, right? Whatever the flow of the application process, you're gonna do exactly what they said, right? To get your application in there. And this is where most people stop. They're like, hey, they want me to apply, I'm gonna stop right there, right? And so if you wanna stand out, let's say there's 100 applications. If you do this, this is gonna put you in the top 20%, 10% of applicants, because literally nobody ever does this. So instead of applying for like 1,000 jobs and hopefully 1, 2, 3 companies would get back to you, I would do the exact opposite. I would get 10 companies that I really want to work for as my ideal type of business I want to learn from. And I'm going to go hard on the 10 as opposed to spreading my energy and my resume over 1,000 companies, which is what 99% of reps do. So I'm going to double down on the 10, maybe the 5 that I really truly want. And then I'm going to do, so that's day one, okay? We're going to get this in 2 weeks. So that's day one. Day two is I'm going to start researching. So I'm going to pull up the companies. So, right? So let's say this is the company I'm going to work for. I'm going to pull up the companies. I'm going to go to the About page, our culture and our benefits. Okay, I'm going to start understanding the company a little bit. I'm going to start a Google Doc. Okay, and then I'm going to start taking notes on the 10 company that I want to apply for. So, okay, so like I'm literally going to do this. So company 1, right? What's their mission and culture? Okay, I'm trying to understand what are they trying to do as a company, and then the culture of their employees, right? So let's say we are looking at this company, and they're by the way, this company is hiring. Okay, so if you're interested in working at starting at a marketing agency that is very successful and profitable and fun place to work at, look into Blue Meta. Okay, let's say this is the company I'm working for. I'm interested in. So I'm going to click on the About page. I'm going to read about, hey, what do they do, right? What's their value? And who's on the team, okay? So Nick is the CEO. So I'm literally going to write CEO Nick, okay? I'm going to link it here. I'm going to basically write down what their missions are and their cultures are, right? And if they have a job posting, they're going to outline like, hey, what we're looking for in a person, right? So let's go back to this company. They're going to literally tell you what they're looking for. And I'm going to basically take some of these responsibilities, right? I'm going to put it on this doc. Okay. And then I'm going to start like, this is where your critical thinking skill set comes in. Okay. So what are they looking for? What they're looking for. Okay. So I'm going to partner with field sales organization. So I'm going to read through some of these bullet points, and I'm going to think, okay, so they're looking for a person with this trait. So they're, okay, so let me give you, what else? Okay, so let me give you an example. Qualifications, I don't care about, okay? If I am a great candidate and I interview well and I do some research and I understand the company's goals and what they're trying to do, I can bypass the qualification most of the times. Now, this won't work if you're applying for a medical job, but in sales, absolutely. So the main thing that I want to understand is, one, what is the mission of the company, what they're trying to do? Two, what is the responsibility of the role, what they're looking for? And three, who are the people that are making the decision or influencing the decision to hire? So in this case, right, let's say with Blue Meta, it's the CEO is going to be Nick. I want to see if there's an HR person here. If there isn't an HR person, I'm going to focus on the CEO. Okay. At a bigger company, you might be looking at the CEO and the hiring manager. Okay. So I'm going to read through this, right? The whole point here with this critical thinking is think, hey, what are the three biggest traits or responsibility they're looking to solve? Okay. So they want somebody to partner with field sales organizations to upsell and expand a relationship within. Okay. So this is upsell and expand relationships with existing customers. Okay, so that's the first part. Ensure retention. Okay, maintaining and growing construction volume within our easy. Okay, so upsell and retention. Okay, so they're interested. They're looking for somebody to help upselling and retaining the current client. So this is like, to me, what this means to me is I'm not going to be making outbound phone calls to completely cold leads. This is calling into the customer database, right? Identify a dormant account and drive re-engagement. Great. This sounds like an inbound role to me. Track and manage prospecting. Okay, so they want somebody who's experienced. So what this really means, right? This is the critical thinking piece for you. What this means is they want somebody who's organized, right? Organized and data driven. Okay, with CRM. So in your application, when you reach out to these guys, this company, you're gonna focus on, hey, I am very organized. I track my activities. I track my results, right? And if you don't have sales experience, you're gonna talk about how you've been able to use data and use system and software to track your results in the past in previous projects, even if it's not related to sales. Okay, develop and maintain an expert level of knowledge in product and solution. Okay, so what this is asking for is really somebody who is eager to learn and love education. Okay, so if you don't have experience in construction or software, you're gonna talk about how you've been able to achieve excellence in your previous roles or project. If you're in school, how you've gotten A's and B's, whatever, using your ability and your desire to learn and master a subject matter. Okay, so what they are really wanting to hear here is this person is going to work hard and learn our stuff and commit to our product and services, right? So love education, love being taught, right, and mentored, right, and become the expert at the subject matter. Okay, so this is gonna take me 10 minutes with this process per company. Okay, so this is day 2. I'm gonna start making a list of company 1, company 2, okay, and then I'm gonna look at I'm gonna find the founder on LinkedIn. So if you already find the job on LinkedIn, it's a matter of going to LinkedIn and then looking at Nick. Let's see if I can find Nick's LinkedIn here. So Nick, Blue Meta. Okay, so you're gonna find the founder on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna read through some of his experience, right? And then I'm gonna do research on him. So now that I've done the research on the company, I'm gonna do the research on the CEO, right? So he's received a lot of recommendation, right? He's obviously loved. Okay. He started, let's see, he's in, so he's a founder of a company called Agency Acquisitions. I'm going to research that. He's also the CEO of Blue Meta, right? He's the principal at another company here. So he's done a lot. He went to University of Fraser Valley. Okay. So I'm going to write all of this down, right? Agency acquisition. Blue Meta. What's this one? Okay. And then what else can I learn? Operations. So it seems like you have a lot of operational experience, right? Operational experience. Okay. So what else I'm gonna do, right? Let's see if he's active on LinkedIn. So he's sharing a lot of content on LinkedIn. So he's talking about CEO losing clients as fast as regaining them. Okay, so on LinkedIn, talking about CEOs losing clients and how to fix. Okay, so this process, right? Again, if I have 5 to 10 companies, will take me half an hour each. That might be 2-3 hours a day. If I have 10 companies, it will take the full day, right? But hey, listen, you don't have a job right now. So your full-time job is to get a job, right? So this is what I would do for 8 hours if I need to. Okay, that's company 1. Company 2, right? You're gonna do this for at least 5 companies on day 2. Okay, so day 1, you research, you find the companies. Day 2, you research each company that you narrow down to 5. Okay, then you're gonna apply through their regular portal. Okay, and this is, I'm gonna assume you have not a totally failing resume, a decent design resume. Honestly, as a sales beginner sales rep, your resume don't matter as much, but as long as it looks okay and it looks like you can actually work in a Word document and it's well designed, you're gonna be fine. Make sure there's no typo, blah blah blah. Okay, that's not the most important part, but I just want to make sure that you don't give any red flags to the company if your resume is completely ugly or misspelled or anything. Okay, so you want to apply through the regular channel. That's just step 1. Okay, and then that's what most people do. So this is day 2 now. On day 3, okay, so day 2 I'm gonna research. Day 3 I'm gonna apply. Right? Let's just say you can only do one thing at a time. Day 3 you're gonna apply. In day 4, what I'm gonna do is, now that I have this doc that's filled out with all of this intel about the company, is I'm gonna do a custom follow-up with the CEO and or the hiring manager on day 3. And I've already got all of this intel on the company. Okay, so I'm gonna do it in two ways, actually 3 ways. Number 1 is I'm gonna reach out and send a connection request to the founder. Okay, we're all connected, but I would definitely do that. And the hiring manager, okay, on LinkedIn. Let's assume that you have a LinkedIn profile, right? If you're on Facebook, you might do that on Facebook as well. So that's a step 1. Step 2, once I connected with them, during this process, I would also get their email address. Okay, and it's not that hard to find email address. That's a topic for another video. But like, I would also email the founder and the hiring manager, right? I would email them, and I will tell you, I will go into what the email should be. If they're on Facebook, I would try to find them on Facebook and connect with them on Facebook, and I would send them messages on Facebook, okay? In addition to that, this is the part where most people don't do it, and most people don't get great jobs and great interviews. The second thing I'm going to do, or the third thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to record a Loom video, right? So there's an app called loom.com. It's completely free. Before you get started, you can record up to 5 minutes per video for free. I'm going to record a personalized video. Loom video. Less than 5 minutes. More like 2 minutes max. Okay? For Nick. Again, this whole process is going to take me another 3 hours. But hey, again, if you want a job in 2 weeks, this is what you do. If you want a job in 6 months, 3 months, you do the spray and pray approach, okay? So step 3, I'm going to record a Loom video, Okay, so let me walk back and tell you what I would say in the email. Here's what I would say in the email. Okay, hey Nick, my name is Win. I came across your job or your job posting on LinkedIn. You're looking for a sales development rep, and I was really impressed with your company, and I was really excited about the opportunity that I saw on LinkedIn, and I wanted to reach out personally to introduce myself. That's the first line of the email. What really stood out to me in the email or in your job and your company is you're looking for somebody who can help expand and really retain more of your existing customers and expand your customer database and the revenue that they are spending with you. And also you're looking for somebody who's like really organized with their and efficient with their data and their activities in the CRM. And it sounds to me like you're also looking for somebody who's like really eager to learn and can dedicate themselves to master the products and the services that you have at. In this case, I'm going to use Blue Meta. Okay, I know these are two different companies, but I'm going to kind of marry them together here. So that's second line. Thirdly, I was also thoroughly impressed with your work history and your entrepreneurial ventures. I saw that you are a founder of both Agency Acquisitions and Blue Meta. It sounds really intriguing to me. I went to Agency Acquisitions, the website, and I love the fact that you help marketing agencies become more profitable and make a bigger impact in the business. Okay, so at this point, I would have found agencyacquisitions.com, okay, the website, and Blue Meta, right? So I'm just saying, hey, I'm really impressed with what you're doing with these two companies. That's like my third line. The last line is, I'm a recent graduate from school, right? Or I just graduated from university. I was the varsity whatever athlete on the team, and I'm really interested in your job, the job that you have online about appointment setting. Okay, that's kind of like the flow of the email. It's not that hard, right? It does take some critical thinking and some elbow grease, but it's not that hard to put together. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, I'm going to record a Loom video. I'm going to put it in that email. I'm going to say, I also recorded a really short 2-minute Loom video to tell you why I'm the best fit for this position. You can check it out here. I would love to get your feedback on my my video and my qualification and why I think I am the best candidate for this job. You can check out my video here, and I'd love to hear back from you. Okay? So that's the email. Now, what do I say in the Loom video? Okay, so in the Loom video, it's gonna be like this, where I'm gonna like do it on my phone or on my computer, where it's just the camera, right? And this, you can do this on your phone as well. I will just flip it on camera portrait mode, and I'm gonna go 2 minutes, right? You're not trying to sell your whole self here on the video. You're just trying to make a first impression. So I'm gonna like take up my phone, do this, or set it on the desk here, right? Or I can do the webcam on my computer. I'm going to say, hey, Nick, this is Win. I sent you the email. I'm applying for the job or for the role as a sales development rep or an appointment setter at Blue Meta. I just want to make a quick video to tell you how excited I am about the job and the role. I've read through everything. I've looked at your website. Your mission is really compelling. I love the fact that you're trying to help more companies with great products and services reach more of their target market and make a bigger impact in the world. That's exactly why I really want to work for your company. So that's like 30 seconds. So I am a new graduate, right? I don't have any sales experience yet, but what I do have is 3 things. 1, grit, the desire to learn. 2, I'm very coachable. I'd love to learn and be mentored by you and coached by you and your team. And 3, I am willing to put in the hours. Okay, and the work and the grind. So those are the 3 reasons why I think I am the best candidate here. And to give you an example, back in school, I was the top athlete in something, right? Or I worked really hard on my projects and I achieved a GPA of X, Y, and Z. Or I helped my mom started a lemonade stand. by helping her with the marketing and the sales, and it really taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of marketing and sales in business, and that's why I'm really excited about your company. So I'd love to get an interview and speak with your team more about my qualifications and learn more about the role and what you're trying to do with the job, and see if and how I can actually support that vision for you. So love to hear back from you. If you can reply to my email, that'd be great. I sent you a connection request on LinkedIn. You can also find me there. My phone number is X, Y, and Z. In the end, that was hopefully less than 2 minutes, right? I was talking out loud as I'm recording, so that shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes. What the content of the videos you said doesn't even matter that much, as long as you send and you create a video, because you're going to stand out from, if let's say there's 100 applications, right, on that LinkedIn job that we see here, I can guarantee you of these 73 applications, not one person did the custom email. Maybe 3% did the custom email, but I can also guarantee you that none of them did that video. But if you did both of those things, you will instantly get to the top of the pile of applications. You will for sure get the CEO and or the hiring manager to look at your application and your resume and your video and your email. And if you're on LinkedIn as well, and you sent me a message and said, hey, Nick, I just sent you an email. In the email, there's a video. I also included a video link here. I'm just really excited about what the prospect at working at your company. I love your vision. I love what you're trying to do with the role. Love to hear back from you. If you hit them with that, where you apply directly, just like everybody else, but you send them an email, you record a Loom video, and you reach out to them on LinkedIn, I guarantee you, within 2 days, you're going to get a response from the hiring manager and or the CEO. Okay? So if you do this for 5 companies, you will get at least 3 interviews, if not all 5. Just facts, okay? I'm actually going through this hiring process right now, and I can tell you, no one does this. And it's so easy and simple, okay? So that's what I would do on day 3. And by day 4 or 5, I would be hearing back from the company. I would be lining up interviews. And if I do, and by the way, the first impression is so important that if you do this in this manner that I outlined to you, even if you don't do as well on the interview itself, like the question that you answer and the way that they ask you questions and how you answer them and your experience, you've set such a good first impression that hiring managers and companies tend to be more forgivable if you don't do well in the interview or as well in the interview. Let me add this. If you do the LinkedIn strategy or the reach out, the email, and the Loom video, you know what happens if Nick get that? If he's not the hiring manager, Nick's going to forward that to the hiring manager and said, hey, check this out. This kid or this dude or this gal, like, literally is prospecting me for the job. Like, we got to give him an interview. So, like, you're literally getting the CEO to say to the HR person, hey, give this guy or gal an interview. So, is it easy? I don't think it's easy. It is work, but I would do this, and I would much rather do this with 10 companies as opposed to blasting out 1,000 resumes to 1,000 companies and never hearing back. Okay? So if you do this, guarantee you in the next 7 days, so in the next week, you are going to get interviews. And then for the next 7 days, of course, you're going to go through interview process. That's another topic for another video. But like I said, if you want a job in the next 14 days, this is exactly what I would do. Cheers.